What's happening, everyone? I've been getting some questions about my cymbals online, so I figured that I would just give you a tour of what I've been playing live and when I've been touring. I use a different set of cymbals when I'm playing in more of a funk or groove or rock context, and that's what I'm gonna give you a tour of today. I have a different set of cymbals from when I'm swinging out or playing in more of a jazz context, but today we're gonna start focusing on the funk cymbals. So right here, this is a 22 that is basically a replica of one of my wide rides. And this is kind of built off the body of a carope. And you can see that it is patinaed like a carope. And I'll let you hear what that sounds like in a minute. Over here, I've got my 20-inch Lunar Crash. And this is the Concept Shop Lunar Crash. And this has been in my arsenal for a while, and this is now the Zildjian version that is available in the Concept Shop. Over here, I've been playing a 20-inch crash ride, which is basically a lunar crash before we put the 7 craters in there. So if you look over here at my lunar crash, we have 7 craters around here, and what these do is they break up the sound waves as the waves are traveling to the edge of the cymbal, and these craters make a distorted or trashy sound within the cymbal. And then over here, I'm basically playing an 18-inch crash. So I've got the 22-inch wide ride replica, an unhammered 20-inch lunar crash, an 18-inch crash over here, my 20-inch lunar crash. And over here, I have my 15-inch hats, which are basically replicas of my fat hats. And the top is much lighter than the bottom. And these sound great in funk, but they also sound great when I want to play them in a swinging out context or when I want to play them semi-open in a rock context. So I'm going to start off with this ride, and I'll play the bell and some crashes just to give you an idea of the full palette of sounds available out of this ride. And that's what this ride sounds like when I'm playing with my signature stick in hickory. But if I were gonna swing out and be playing in a lighter context, I would use the AJ6, which has this very small, finer pointed tip. And I'll play that when I'm swinging out and listen to the difference in sound in this. Now we'll check out this lunar crash. Of course, I love to crash on it, but it sounds great when riding on it as well. Over here is that 20-inch lunar crash without those craters. And here's the 18-inch crash. So together they create a nice palette. Now let me play the hats for you. So when I first got with Zildjian in 2020, this is the original Lunar Crash that they made for me, and I'll play this one in the studio sometimes. And then over here is a Pang, like the Pang thing that I was using for years. But on the road, I started wanting to hear a little bit more of an explosive crash over here on my right. So that's why I started using what I was just showing you. But just to give you an idea of what this Pang and this first generation Lunar Crash sound like, I'm gonna play these for you right now. So this Lunar Crash is basically a replication of an old Zen that I had bought from Marty Hurley, and I bought that for about 15 bucks. And he was cleaning out one of the closets at the band hall at Brother Martin. And so he was like, "You want that old thing?" It was bent and like, it was really funky and green. And I was like, "Yeah, that thing's amazing." And at the time I was like getting into Tony Williams and some of his darker cymbal sounds. And so this thing, you know, played well with a nice fine tipped stick. You could get a dark but focused cymbal sound out of that little cymbal that I got for 15 bucks. And I wound up playing that cymbal on an audition tape, and that got me to win the All-State Jazz Band in high school. So that cymbal always had a special place in my heart, but it developed a crack and I wanted to do something that was replicable. So we started making the Trash Crash, and now we make this Lunar Crash with Zildjian. And this Pang, I started wanting to play a Pang because I was going to see Johnny Vodakovich a lot when I was like 18, 19, 20 years old. And he was using a Pang during that period. And so I found two Pangs in different cities over time as I was touring. So I had bought a couple Pangs and I really loved them and started using them in my playing. So I had Zildjian make me this beautiful sounding 20-inch Pang. And if you're not familiar with what a Pang is, it's basically a milder version of a China cymbal or a Swish knocker. And it's much milder and darker. And this 22-inch ride is a combination of some of my favorite rides that I've had over time, kind of in the old cave tradition, but also making sure that I have enough definition and versatility to play all the different situations that I play. And underneath each one of these cymbals, I have what I like to call a skip lathing, where we leave some of the unfinished cymbal in. So an unlathed cymbal has a darker, more focused sound and a little bit mellower. So I leave some of that darkness and mellowness in by only lathing every other round. So this is what I like to call skip lathing, and it just leaves a little bit of the darkness and mellowness in to each of the cymbals. So I feel very fortunate and very gracious towards Zildjian for them making all of these wonderful cymbals for me to play. And I do have to give a special shout out to Paul Francis for helping me make these in the beginning when I first got with Zildjian, and now Joe Pillai and the rest of the fine team over there at Zildjian are helping me with all of my cymbal needs. So special shout out to Zildjian and all the fine people that work there. And I feel very fortunate to have such a great working relationship with such a great long-standing company. So thanks for tuning in to this tour of my cymbals. I hope that this was insightful, maybe a little educational for you, and also gives you an idea of what all of these sound like. If you dug this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you will be notified when I'm coming out with more lessons, behind the scenes footage, and tours of different things. So, appreciate y'all tuning in. Until next time, I'll see you down the line.